What if you could see what others can't? Not with your eyes, but with something deeper, a kind of vision that pierces through people's masks. You'd notice the tremor in their voice, the emptiness behind their smile. You'd see the truth, raw and unfiltered. And once you see it, you can never go back. At first, you think it's intuition, a quiet ability to read energy, to feel what's unsaid. But soon it becomes too much. Every glance reveals a hidden motive. Every silence carries tension. You don't just see people anymore. You see through them. And that's where the danger begins. Carl Jung warned about this kind of sight, the mind's descent into the unconscious. Once you open that door, you can't choose what comes through. You start recognizing patterns in people, and in yourself. The deeper you see, the darker it gets. Because awareness doesn't just illuminate, it exposes. You realize most people don't want to be seen. Their smiles are armor, their words rehearsed performances. When your presence feels like a mirror, they turn away. You become the reminder they never asked for, proof that their shadows still live inside them. So you begin to withdraw, not out of arrogance, but exhaustion. The noise of the world feels unbearable when you can sense what hides beneath it. Crowds drain you. Small talk feels like suffocation. You crave solitude, not for peace, but for survival. You start living between two worlds, the visible and the unseen. One foot in ordinary life, one in the depths of the psyche. Jung called it individuation, the tension between who you pretend to be and who you truly are. But the process is painful. It tears you open before it heals you. And in that darkness, something begins to whisper, not from outside, but within. It's your shadow, the parts you buried to stay acceptable. It shows you everything you've denied: envy, rage, desire, fear. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The people around you change too. Some are drawn to your depth. Others feel exposed and turn against you. Your clarity threatens their illusion. You start realizing that seeing the truth comes with a price. The loss of comfort, of belonging, sometimes even love. There's a breaking point, the moment when all that perception becomes too heavy. You either retreat into numbness or learn to transform it. The pain forces you to grow. The shadows you feared become guides, leading you toward a deeper kind of freedom, one born from self-awareness. Eventually, you stop fearing what you see. You stop running from the darkness because you understand it's not your enemy, it's your map. You were never cursed for seeing too much. You were chosen to see what others ignore, and in that vision lies your power, the dangerous, beautiful gift of awakening. When Jung spoke of awakening, he said not everyone survives the journey. Awareness changes people in different ways. Some resist it, some drown in it, and a few learn to live with it. Most never realize which one they've become. The first kind runs from truth. They sense something stirring beneath their routines, but quickly distract themselves. More work, more noise, more validation. They cling to the surface of life, terrified of silence, because silence reveals too much. The second becomes obsessed with understanding. They read, meditate, dissect every feeling, but awareness becomes their cage. Overthinking replaces living. They turn the search for truth into another mask, mistaking analysis for transformation. The third kind tries to fix everyone else. They carry others' pain to avoid their own. Their empathy becomes martyrdom. Jung called this projection of the shadow, helping others to escape facing what's broken inside. They burn out under the weight of everyone's wounds but their own. And then there are the few who endure the descent. They face what others flee, and in doing so, they become whole. They don't fight the darkness, they listen to it. They learn that awareness isn't control, it's surrender. The true awakening isn't about power, but peace. When you reach that state, you no longer fit where you once belonged. You move through the world differently, detached but not cold. You see the same illusions, yet they no longer trap you. You understand people's blindness, but you no longer need to fix it. And still the world resists you. People mistake your calm for arrogance, your silence for indifference. They can't stand the reflection you offer. Jung warned that those who look too deeply become outsiders, because truth isolates before it liberates. You start noticing the small losses, friendships that fade, rooms that feel heavier, moments where connection used to be easy. But awareness has no reverse. Once the veil lifts, you can't go back to pretending. You can only learn to see without judgment. The hardest part isn't what you see, it's that no one else does. You watch people repeat patterns you've already escaped. You want to warn them, but wisdom can't be handed over. Each person must descend on their own, and so you stay quiet, carrying what you know in silence. But in that silence, something shifts. The fear that once haunted you becomes stillness. You realize that seeing the darkness isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of truth. Awareness stops being a wound and becomes your way of loving the world as it is. Every room feels charged with tension you cannot ignore. Subtle glances, unspoken fears, tiny shifts in energy. They hit you all at once. Crowds suffocate, small talk drains. Even when you try to escape it, the hidden truths linger. You cannot unsee what others avoid, and that awareness both isolates and defines you. People unconsciously reflect themselves through you. Their anger, joy, or unease bounces back like silent signals. You feel the weight of their unspoken truths constantly. Every glance, every hesitation speaks volumes. While others remain oblivious, you carry the invisible burden of their shadows, revealing what they refuse to face in themselves. Seeing clearly is dangerous. Others blame you for the very truth you reveal. A friend's sudden irritation, a colleague's sharp remark, even a stranger's defensiveness, it's projection. They attack the mirror instead of acknowledging their own shadows. The more you perceive, the more unconscious conflict follows you, silently, everywhere you go. Emotions aren't just noticed, they invade. A friend's grief, a passerby's stress, even subtle unease becomes yours. Distinguishing your own feelings from absorbed energies grows harder each day. Mornings feel heavy with yesterday's impressions. Feeling too much isn't weakness. It's evidence that you perceive what most cannot, a burden and a gift entwined. Being around others amplifies your solitude. You hear the unspoken, sense the hidden, and no one else notices. Conversations feel shallow, laughter forced, and your presence exposes secrets people hide. Even surrounded, you remain apart. The more perceptive you are, the further you drift from ordinary connection, silently carrying the invisible weight of collective tension. Understanding others deeply comes at a price. You see their hidden fears, secrets, and desires, yet acting carries risk. Each insight threatens defensiveness. Clarity empowers, but also isolates. Others feel exposed by your presence. You stand at the edge of awareness, balancing between empathy and distance, seeing the world with unfiltered truth that others cannot bear. You spot recurring behaviors, hidden motives, subtle dynamics before anyone else. Relationships, office politics, even casual friendships become predictable under your gaze. Sharing these observations is perilous. People resist what challenges their self-image. Understanding comes with risk. Every insight deepens comprehension, but also magnifies the invisible tension around you. Every revelation carries weight. Each unacknowledged resentment, buried fear, or subtle deception lands in your awareness like a shadow. You become keeper of truths people avoid. Even small observations feel heavy. Ignoring them isn't an option. The world's unspoken realities demand recognition. Awareness becomes responsibility, a constant, silent load that few can comprehend. Your perceptiveness exceeds what society tolerates. People unconsciously resent being reflected so clearly. Honesty triggers conflict. Social interactions carry hidden landmines. Your gift, meant to illuminate, can feel like a curse. Others' inability to handle what you reveal tests your patience. Every act of insight risks backlash, making perception both a blessing and a perilous responsibility. Even loved ones cannot fully meet you where you are. Your mind continuously tracks what others miss. Hidden motives, subtle lies, invisible tension. The world feels heavier, louder, more chaotic. You carry emotions that are not yours, yet cannot ignore them. Perception becomes a silent, relentless companion, shaping your life, testing boundaries, and challenging the limits of your psychological endurance. After years of isolation, clarity emerges. Jung observed that recognizing what is truly yours versus borrowed from others' unconscious minds is essential. Without this distinction, chaos reigns. Absorbed emotions blur identity. Integration begins when perceptive individuals consciously separate personal experience from external content, reclaiming agency over their mind and reclaiming space for authentic perception. Daily solitude is essential. Time alone allows absorbed energies to settle, letting you hear your authentic inner voice. Without this practice, superior perception becomes an overwhelming storm. Silence is your laboratory, a sanctuary for distinguishing your truth from borrowed impressions. Only through disciplined observation can the mind navigate the flood of invisible realities that surround you constantly. You must confront your own hidden fears and desires. Every irritation or envy toward others mirrors unlived aspects of yourself. Ignoring these reflections leads to projection, amplifying social friction and inner tension. Shadow integration transforms reactive awareness into conscious understanding. By facing what you once denied, you prevent becoming a magnet for collective resentment and personal overwhelm. Acknowledging inner darkness requires courage. Selfishness, deceit, and fear are not corruption, but opportunities for growth. Confronting them frees the mind from being a mirror of others' discomfort. Perceptive individuals who integrate shadows channel insight constructively. The ability to see clearly without triggering resistance becomes a conscious skill, turning perception from burden into purposeful power. Mental containers hold unconscious content temporarily, protecting your psyche from emotional flooding. Without them, absorbed energies merge with your own. creating confusion and burnout. Containers allow engagement without absorption, letting perception remain precise. You maintain boundaries, observing the world's subtle truths without losing yourself, transforming raw awareness into a sustainable, actionable gift. Integration transforms perception from curse to gift. Conscious participation is engaging with the collective unconscious without losing yourself. Fear turns into curiosity, isolation into connection. You intervene wisely, not impulsively. The perceptive mind becomes a bridge rather than a drain, guiding others without absorbing their chaos, and allowing insight to contribute meaningfully without personal dissolution. Even with mastery, whom you share insights with matters. Jung emphasized connections with fellow individuated individuals or mature containers. Unsafe interactions reinforce overwhelm. Careful alliances cultivate growth. Sharing perception becomes selective and intentional. By choosing wisely, you preserve energy, protect clarity, and ensure your insight serves both yourself and others without triggering unconscious conflict or projection. Insights are revealed slowly, gently. Small observations first, gauge reactions, increase depth based on receptivity. Frame perceptions as offerings, not judgments. This prevents defensiveness, transforming sensitivity into a strength. Gradual disclosure allows trust to build. Your gift becomes an asset rather than a liability, guiding others without overwhelming them, and creating space for mutual understanding and conscious engagement. Integration culminates in service. Your perception guides others without draining you. Awareness transforms suffering into guidance. You help others navigate hidden dynamics safely. Insight becomes impact rather than burden. The perceptive individual shifts from isolation to active participation. The capacity to see deeply is now wielded responsibly, allowing your understanding to become constructive for collective psychological growth. At the highest stage, perception is wielded lightly. Observations are made without attachment or compulsion to fix all. Transcendent function emerges. Superior perception evolves into wisdom. Insight contributes to collective consciousness instead of causing personal torment. Awareness ceases to be a burden. It becomes guidance. You act as both observer and participant, shaping reality consciously while preserving inner peace. You notice perceptions without being crushed by them. The tension that once felt suffocating now feels manageable. You observe undercurrents without drowning. The world ceases to feel like a trap. Every insight is a step, not a burden. Awareness shifts from fear into guidance, turning clarity into a tool rather than a weight. The disturbing reflections once seen in others now guide inner growth. You accept darkness as part of humanity. Every hidden resentment or unspoken fear becomes a lesson. Integration doesn't erase shadows. It teaches navigation without judgment. Each recognition strengthens resilience and cultivates inner freedom. Engaging with others' psychological content becomes safe. You hold space without absorption. Conversations once draining now enlighten. Your clarity allows others to confront themselves gently. Perception evolves from isolation to connection. Your gift begins serving as a bridge, guiding others without compromising your peace. You distinguish what belongs to you from what belongs to others. Emotional contagion no longer sweeps you away. Conscious containers allow processing without merging. Freedom comes not from avoiding others, but knowing exactly what to carry. and what to release. Boundaries protect, empower, and preserve your clarity. Feeling deeply is no longer a curse. Intuition guides without overwhelming life. You sense despair, hope, hidden joy, and respond with precision. Wisdom tempers sensitivity, allowing insight without assuming others' burdens. Your empathy is measured, transformative, and intentional, a tool to connect, not to be consumed. Your gifts allow contribution without loss of self. You help without martyrdom. Acting as a mirror illuminates truths for those ready to see, without absorbing chaos. Contribution becomes choice, dialogue rather than duty. You serve evolution consciously, offering presence and guidance without self-destruction. Seeing what others miss is rare, not a flaw. Isolation fades as perception becomes intentional. Each insight strengthens connection instead of creating distance. Depth is embraced, not feared. Your gift is no longer a weight. It is the path you walk consciously, with clarity, courage, and compassion. Every environment feels less threatening. Social and emotional landscapes become navigable. Confusion and deception no longer unsettle you. Clarity brings confidence. You are defined not by what you absorb, but by conscious interaction. Fear recedes, replaced by purposeful presence and grounded awareness. You attract those who speak your silent language of depth. With them, you need not shrink or hide what you sense. Your truth is safe. These souls mirror your strength, not your fears. Together, spaces of honesty and healing are created. For the first time, you are not too much. You are fully understood and seen. You are not just a deep observer. You are the light itself. The clarity that once felt like a curse now guides others from darkness. Purpose is embodied, not sought. Every act of awareness ripples outward. You are witness and healer, not merely observing transformation, but living proof of it, illuminating the world with conscious presence.